Did you know, Mark, your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value.
That's right. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight into your account. Plus, sign up now for a $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards.
A Bitcoin bonus. That is what I need in my life. So I guess I have to visit Gemini.com/card today. If you're looking to invest in Bitcoin but don't know where to start, the Gemini credit card makes it easy.
Issued by WebBank. To qualify for the $200 crypto intro bonus, you must spend $3,000 in your first 90 days. Some exclusions to instant rewards apply. This is not investment advice, and trading crypto involves risk. Check Gemini's website for more details on rates and fees.
As a woman entrepreneur, you know that every connection counts, whether it's with your customers, your team, or your community. Spectrum Business is here to help you build those connections stronger and faster. Imagine running your business with fast, reliable, fiber-powered internet so you can stay connected to customers, employees, and vendors without having to worry. We know flexibility matters. That's why select Spectrum Business packages come with a 3-year price guarantee, so you can focus on running your business. Plus, enjoy savings on internet, phone, TV, and mobile services when you bundle, all with a 30-day money-back guarantee and no long-term contracts. With Spectrum Business, you get more than just internet. You get support with 100% U.S.-based customer service. Real people who understand small business, ready 24/7 to help you stay up and running. Join millions of business owners like you across America who trust Spectrum Business for reliability, speed, and support. Visit spectrum.com/business today to get started. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas.
Let's say the Broncos do what we expect them to do. They get to the Super Bowl. Will it feel a touch hollow that you didn't take out the great Mahomes and Reed?
Nah.
Does that matter to you?
Nope. I want, the path of least resistance. And honestly, it would have been nice. We'll beat the Chiefs in the playoffs next year. That's my thought. No, I will take great joy in it.
Heyo, welcome to Heed the Call, an NFL podcast. I am Dan Hanzus, joined as always by Marc Sessler, Justin Graver on the ones and twos. Sessy, it's the midweek show. We got the playoffs this weekend, and for a little fun assignment for us with our guest Brandon Perna of That's Good Sports, we're going to take one look back at the end of the regular season and the year in weird.
Well, it is absolutely the pinpoint correct year to examine weirdness. Some weird stuff went down. Perna is the perfect person to engage in that study with, so I'm looking forward to a spicy little episode here in the middle, smack dab in the middle of a big week.
A little spicy pepper.
Yeah.
In early January. All right, before we get to that, though, let's jump right in. There's some news to hit, including a seismic shift atop the coach hierarchy in our league.
I've never been so proud of a team, man. I've never been so proud of a team. I've never been so impressed. I've never admired a bunch of guys so much as I admire you guys right here, right now, man. I never have, ever.
Yes, that, of course, is John Harbaugh, who we learned on Tuesday was let go by the Ravens. His exit comes 2 days after Baltimore lost to Pittsburgh in heartbreaking fashion on a missed field goal by Tyler Loop. One of those things, Sassy, where it's like, wait a second, if Tyler Loop hits that 44-yard field goal, does John Harbaugh get fired? And do you want to get on the Ravens for it? But it's like, no, it's just, that's sports. Sports are weird like that. Results dictate actions, even when it doesn't make sense. Or maybe, Sassy, he was going either way if the Ravens didn't go on a run. It was a tough year, and Baltimore wants to go in a new direction.
Yeah, I don't think it's just the result of that game. Based on just the Ravens, the way they operate, it's an 18-year relationship that went through the highest heights. There is very few coaches we could point to that or more honorable, did the job the right way, was beloved by players. I think this was a particularly tough season. If you look into some of the reporting around some of the beat writers and stuff that there was just more frustration this year. And it was the way that the season started, but players maybe feeling not as connected to the coaching staff. And then the owner wanting to do the thing that owners do. I want to make a change. I want to change our coordinators. I want Todd Monken out of here and Zach Orr potentially. And Harbaugh, out of loyalty or out of just feeling like the relationship was at a turning point, refused to do that. And he's on his way. And it's weird to me because it's like this is simultaneously now the greatest job opening in the NFL, and the person they parted ways with is the most heat-seeking candidate out there. And they made it work together for a very long time, and then the breakup.
I mean, it's Mike Vrabel all over again, and it feels like a lot of wasted breath. All that talk about teams, not having a Vrabel-like figure that they could go chase, and and teams that maybe were sitting on their hands, like my team, for instance. Like, does this change how you feel? Does it change the New York Giants, who seem to have a tractor beam on your old coach, Kevin Stefanski, Mark, and now John Harbaugh seems to be atop their list. And how hot a candidate is John Harbaugh? There's a report that 7 different teams reached out to him. Is that correct?
Within the first 45 minutes of his dismissal being announced, his agent told ESPN they'd already received 7 calls, and there were only 6 other head coach vacancies. Obviously, the Ravens are 7, so at least one.
Who is the mystery team? And
if there could be more than one mystery team. And Josina Anderson, for what it's worth, grain of salt, I guess, reported that the Dolphins have reached out to Harbaugh. Meanwhile, Jeremy Fowler also reported at the same time that they are leaning towards keeping Mike McDaniel, so it's hard to say.
But what owner, coach in hand, quarterback in hand, has went and talked to other coaches and sent out yachts with like Tom Brady on it, trying to get new? It's like Stephen Ross is going to do what he wants to do. I feel like the Dolphins feel like a strong candidate for this.
Yes, I think a team like the Dolphins could absolutely benefit from Harbaugh. I think it's a weird one because from one perspective, it's a terrible decision by the Ravens because it's very hard to find a good head coach and find stability. And part of Baltimore's enduring success has been, I think, that stability with Harbaugh atop the food chain. But also, this is a guy that now 63 years old. He led the Ravens for 18 seasons, only behind Tomlin by 1 year in terms of longevity with one team. And we were in the building at the Superdome, Mark, way back in February of 2013. That's when they won the Super Bowl with Harbaugh. But that was a long time ago now. And so I don't necessarily, I can't bury Bisciotti for saying maybe it's time to change things up. There's also reporting around the relationship between Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh, and maybe that had gone south. And again, if I'm the owner of a team or a team builder, and I have to decide between my head coach that hasn't won a Super Bowl in 14 years or whatever, or my future Hall of Fame quarterback, I'm probably going to side with the quarterback who probably has 6 to 8 years of high level play in him. And then at the same time, Ceci, the reporting is around they're looking for someone who can get the most out of Lamar Jackson. It was like, you mean Lamar Jackson, who's won 2 league MVPs and nearly a third? I feel like that was a pretty good arrangement, even if it wasn't Harbaugh calling the plays.
I think what happened specifically this year, and the reason that Bisciotti had eyes on Todd Monken, was that Monken and Lamar Jackson reportedly were not getting along. And it put Harbaugh in a position where he had to be kind of the go-between. And that's the rare incident of kind of lack of healthy behavior inside a Ravens organization that typically just doesn't have that pop up that way. I mean, they're talking about people needing to reach Lamar Jackson, invigorate him. And it is really interesting, like, who they're going to have to come and do that job. Like, I'm with you. You probably stick with the quarterback. But there was whispers that they were maybe going to move on from Lamar Jackson, and one of the weirdest things that could happen. So they're at a really interesting turning point. But I do think it was a relationship that maybe on both sides, it was a little, Chris Martin, Gwyneth Paltrow conscious uncoupling on some level.
Yeah.
It is the one weird thing. Like, if the Steelers melt and Tomlin wants to go work for CBS Sports or something, like, we are looking at an AFC North where the only coach still standing after this season is Zach Taylor. Now that's weird.
It's the year in weird. Are you? I know it's crossed your mind, Sessler. Are you a little bit concerned that this is going to end with your beloved Stefanski coaching the Baltimore Ravens, the most hated of all teams in Sessler Nation?
I think that's one of the candidates you'd look at in this sort of.
But answer my question, Sessler.
Absolutely, because it's not going to go in the other direction. I will say, I'm not.
What about Harbaugh to the Browns? How about a little swap, a little wife swap?
There's so
a little
much
upside down pineapple, Sessy.
Okay, I mean, I would love that. I think he'd be the perfect person for the Browns. But I tweeted yesterday, like, get out of your LSD trip if you think that's happening. I just don't think it's happening because I think ownership is going to matter very much. But the Harbaughs have Ohio ties. They grew up Browns fans.
Come on,
like Jim Harbaugh was sought by Jimmy Haslam at one point. So they're definitely going to try. I just think the Browns typically look like the least desired location for most of these coaches.
But he might want to do like a Theo Epstein thing. To use one of my many labored baseball analogies, like I saved the Red Sox, now I'm going to go and save the Cubs. Like that, I would imagine John Harbaugh is not lacking confidence that he could fix any organization after having all the success he had, and I think that would be a great hire for a team like the Cleveland Browns. Any team that has had struggled to have just stability, and a guy, if you bring in a guy like John Harbaugh, who's like Vrabel, only more established and has a chip, you have someone who could actually push back against meddlesome management because he'll be able to dictate the terms of his stay at that team. Is like, hey, Jimmy Haslam, go sit in your 18-wheeler and shut the f*** up because I'm running this operation and I'm picking the GM that I'm going to do it with. Like, is your team smart enough to jump on this opportunity? Because I think Harbaugh is a proven commodity and can really help teams that are at the bottom of the league right now.
One little nugget.
Yes.
The Browns have already set up an interview with Todd Monken. And okay, that could be for head coach. They did that before all this happened, but I do wonder if it's one of those things where it's like, we're just going to pair you with John Harbaugh. I don't think so at all. Like, I think they just want to check out Todd Monken. They're probably going to hire like Holly Hobby to be their head coach. I don't have a lot of hope.
They're going to find Freddie Kitchens in like a motel in Mexico and bring him back.
He's available.
All right. And that puts us at 7 open head coach jobs now every year. 7 or 8. Book it. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Like, oh, this year could be different. No. There are a lot of impatient owners or overwhelmed head coaches that actually deserve to go. And every year it adds up to 7 or 8. All right. In other dismissals, the Cowboys fired defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Not a surprise. Rossini had tweeted one name to watch for the Cowboys' new vacancy, Brian Flores. And Connor had done some reporting on the SI side that Flores might not be long for the Vikings, but might also be ready to make a lateral move at DC to another place. And being the highest paid coordinator in the league, as Flores certainly would be, Jera would I would think empty out his pockets to bring Flores in. Makes a lot of sense. Speaking of Jera, he was asked if he's going to let Brian Schottenheimer hire the next DC, and here is what the owner / general manager had to say.
Will Schottenheimer get to hire his own coordinator?
Trump just said it. I'm running. Venezuela.
I mean, this is not the first time this has happened, but it never ceases to be entertaining to me, Ceci. Jerry Jones just chopping down his head coach at the knees, and then the head coach is literally seated 1.5 feet away from him, nervously laughing. It's just, you know.
But I think Mike McCarthy was a poster boy for that. And Shoddy is not, we were talking about Harbaugh coming in and taking over a program. It's like, that just doesn't happen with the Cowboys. And Shoddy probably, if they didn't get Brian Flores, for instance, who's complaining about that? That would be absolutely beautiful.
If I'm Shoddy, I'm like, shit, like a month ago, I was the toast of the town. And if they go and give Brian Flores the bag and we're 4-6 in November last year, I'm out, and they're gonna just promote that dude. It's one of those things where be careful what you wish for, Brian Schottenheimer, because Flores is a guy that there will be a very loud drumbeat if the Cowboys are struggling again next year to look in-house to try to lift the team. But Eberflus out, and we'll see who is next. What did he say? I'm running Venezuela? Is that what he said? Jesus Christ.
That's going very well in real life, apparently. I'll get the update on that. But
both oil men, by the way.
Yes, they are.
I'll leave it there. Commanders and offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury agreed mutually to part ways. They also fired DC Joe Witt. So a reboot. Dan Quinn head on a swivel. NFL. Change happens fast, Ceci, because we're in the same spot a year ago. Right now, everybody was singing the praises of Dan Quinn. Did he get Coach of the Year? Probably did. I don't even remember. Nobody remembers that shit.
Kevin O'Connell.
But was a great success story as the Commanders began a march that took them to the NFC title game. And Cliff Kingsbury was as hot as they come in terms of play callers and future head coaches. Now he doesn't even have a job.
It's like Cliff Kingsbury had completely successfully pulled off a reclamation project post-Cardinals, where it was like he's the perfect coordinator for Jaden Daniels. He's got this thing humming, like he's got the youngest, most exciting quarterback playing the way you'd want, and the entire franchise has changed. And here we are. And I don't think it's a scapegoat situation, but Cliff Kingsbury did a nice job with Mariota when Daniels wasn't in there. And Washington, their full starting offense, as they envisioned it, didn't play a regular season snap until week 14, and then they never did after week 14.
I don't understand how some of this stuff works, Ceci. Like with the John Harbaugh thing, like, oh, we got to find somebody that the Lamar can vibe with better. It's like, how about Lamar could barely walk for 75% of the season and was just a physical train wreck? And the fact that he wasn't healthy probably had a lot to do with the offense not operating at its highest levels. I mean, you could pin it on the OC, but how about the fact that Lamar was basically a replacement level quarterback this year because his body wasn't right? And then with Kingsbury, it's like, so we're going to judge Kingsbury because Jaden Daniels couldn't stay on the field this year. It's like, how about we take a breath sometimes, especially in this situation? The Harbaugh thing, I said my piece, that maybe it's time sometimes to move forward. But Kingsbury, there's probably more to the story that there always is, Mark, but in a year where that was wrecked by Jaden Daniels' issues with injuries, like, why clear out the guy who vibed so well with this kid when they almost went to the Super Bowl a year ago? I just sometimes, I don't know, like the Commanders, for all their success last year, still a team that you don't necessarily trust to be making the right decisions systemically.
No, and I think we talked about it last week that I feel like they're a veteran-heavy roster. They're very old. I think they're the oldest team in the league. A lot of changes are coming. And the one little nugget here was that Dan Quinn, apparently has a different vision for the long-term development of Jaden Daniels. And, Kingsbury's sort of college-esque offense, was probably the perfect introduction. But Quinn wants him to be more in like a traditional NFL look. But why is Dan Quinn? I'm not saying he's not the right person to want that. He's the head coach, but Kingsbury was your offensive-minded guy that they're going to now go find. It's like, who do you replace him with? I don't know. It just seems like
and then miss me with what's going to, the trope alert in the summer. It's like, we're building an offense that's going to make it a more pocket-friendly offense for Jaden Daniels. We want to keep him healthy this year. He's bulked up in the offseason. It's like, no, you just got to let him be the unicorn that he is, and that's just the way it is. Some guys are built to stay healthy. Some guys aren't. I don't know. This one strikes me as odd. According to Jordan Schultz, Kingsbury is expected to interview for the head coach position with both the Titans and the Giants, maybe others. Nothing officially scheduled or confirmed yet. How about you, Justin, over on the Titans beat? I know some of the names have been underwhelming connected to that team, including Jason Garrett, by the way. Jesus Christ. Although that would get him out of that Sunday Night Football studio, which I would be
we'd all benefit, except for Justin.
But, I mean, what do you think about Cliff? What do you think about Garrett? What do you think about, I don't know, life? Buddy?
Cliff kind of scares me as a head coach. As an offensive coordinator, I think he would be a home run hire for any team looking for one, although then you have to worry if your offense is successful, how long do you have him? Because he's been a hot name multiple times now. And I think if he goes somewhere this year and has success as an OC, people will look at this decision the way they look at the Titans firing Vrabel, not like,
but you'll take that. You'll take that as a good problem, right, Justin? If Kingsbury's too good as the OC next year,
100%. And I've said that before. And Davis Webb is the Broncos QB coach, is a name out there who's a hot candidate. Maybe a little too early for him. What if he's your OC in waiting? He played for Kingsbury at Texas Tech, so they have a work. If wherever Kingsbury goes, can he somehow bring Davis Webb with him if Webb doesn't get what he's looking for this offseason? I don't know. Maybe he stays in Denver.
Right, you got to move heaven and earth, right, to set up Cam Ward the right way.
Absolutely.
And not that he's not the same player as Jaden Daniels, but you saw it work with a young player a year ago.
You can't wait another year.
Well. Yeah, but not head coach, you're saying, because Cliff, for all the praise I guess we're heaping on him, was not very good in Arizona, but also it turned out Kyler Murray was a bit of a fraudulent franchise player. So I think that's going to help. Kyler Murray's regression as a player is going to help Cliff get a second job in the NFL. And I think this will be a bump in the road for him career-wise. Finally, the Lions have fired offensive coordinator John Morton after one season, per multiple reports. This one also we could kind of see coming, Sessy, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they were in a quest to fill the void of Ben Johnson for this entire season. It didn't work. It's weird because on paper, and that's why this isn't just on paper stuff, but they were fourth in scoring and fifth in yards. And there were games where they looked dominant. But I think this is Dan Campbell soul searching, wanting to reimagine, rethink, or maybe get back to the roots of what this Lions offense was. I think it starts with they lost some key guys along the line, and there were some health issues there, and they weren't the dominant bulldozer of the previous season. Go draft a bunch of linemen, get back to what you want to be, find the right play caller. I just think they had goals that they stated that they didn't meet with this offense in terms of like Jameson Williams at times, like what they wanted to do and they wouldn't do it. And Morton, who's got a ton of experience, is, again, the fall guy. Like Dan Campbell's not going to be.
This is the best job, right, in the league if you're looking for an OC post.
It's a great job, but you are going to be compared to Ben Johnson, and you're going to have to be the next guy that
you're going to be compared to John Morton. You never want to be the guy who replaces the guy. You want to be the guy that replaces the guy that replaced the guy. And in this situation, it's not just Morton; it's also Dan Campbell who replaced Morton. So you would come in as the guy that's here to get things back on track, and you're playing in an offense with stars everywhere. And I think,
but you got to make Goff be the Goff that he's been under in these good times. That can't fall off the cliff.
And you do, although sure, Ben Johnson is going to be the godlike figure in the Lions' orbit of recent success, but like he's also given you a roadmap of what do we need to get back to? Like, what do we have to do that we weren't doing last year? Anyway, I would love, if I was an OC, if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, and I'm like, I want to be a head coach again in 2027. If I can't be a head coach in 2026, I'll take that Detroit job. I'll be looking a lot better, I think, than I did in Washington with Marcus Mariota. Yes, Justin?
I would only push back a little bit to say if the Chiefs move in this new direction that they're talking about, and if that new direction means Andy Reid is not calling plays anymore, if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I'd want to go coach Patrick Mahomes, who was my quarterback at Texas Tech as well. But I also do agree.
It's another good landing spot.
That would be a prize.
I don't want to speak heresy here, but Patrick Mahomes coming off an ACL in 2026 in his age 32 season or whatever, or that Lions roster with all those stars on the turf, and I kind of like that job better.
I think
no
I'm
Travis
with you.
Kelce anymore.
Dan Campbell also gave himself a grade of a freaking F.
Yeah, let's listen to Dan. I miss Dan already.
How do you feel like you did this year on the job being the head coach of the Lions?
Not good enough. We didn't get in. I mean, we underachieved, so not good. I would give myself a freaking F.
I already miss him. All right, let's that's what's happening in the news. Let's take a break and welcome in our buddy Brandon Perna. Life can feel like one big puzzle. You're constantly trying to fit all the pieces together: your career, your passions, your relationships, your finances, and of course, your health care.
Yeah, it's a lot, but finding care shouldn't be the trickiest piece. That's where ZocDoc comes in. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love.
We're talking about more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states. Whether you're looking for dermatology, dentistry, primary care, eye care, or any of the 200 plus specialties on ZocDoc, you could search by specialty or symptom and build the care team that's right for you.
Want to see your doctor in person? Great. Prefer a video visit? You can do that too. You can even read thousands of verified patient reviews, see real-time availability, and book instantly. No phone tag. Appointments often happen within 24 to 72 hours, sometimes even same day.
Mark and I use this, and you should too. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/heed to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/heed. ZocDoc.com/HEED. Thanks, ZocDoc, for sponsoring this message.
You know that feeling at the start of the new year? That fresh start energy where anything feels possible, Dan? 2026 is the perfect time to finally turn that idea you've been thinking about into a real business.
Absolutely, Mark. We all have skills, passions, or concepts we keep circling in our heads, but it's taking that first step, that action that transforms a dream into your new future. January is short, and you don't want February to arrive with the same old story.
Yeah. So what's the most powerful move to make it all happen in 2026? Start your business with Shopify. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell both online and in person.
Millions of entrepreneurs, from household names to first-time business owners, have already made the leap. You get all the tools to build your dream store with hundreds of beautiful templates you can customize to match your brand. Setup is fast with built-in AI tools to write product descriptions, headlines, and even help edit your product photos.
Yeah, and Dan, marketing is built in too. You can create email and social campaigns to reach customers wherever they scroll. And as your business grows, Shopify grows with you. Handle more orders, expand to new markets, all from the same dashboard.
In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/HTC. Go to shopify.com/HTC. That's shopify.com/HTC. Hear your first this new year with Shopify by your side. All right, we are back. Yes, we promised it, and now we deliver. This is one of those guys. Cross-pollination. You could sense it. The audience that's checking out Heed the Call is also checking out That's Good Sports. And the man, the genius behind it all is Brandon Perna, and he makes his second appearance here on Heed the Call. What's up, buddy?
I use the word genius about myself quite a bit, so it's nice to hear it come from someone else. I think that's confirmation.
I was
confirmed.
I was thinking about this, Brandon. Like you're obviously a diehard Denver Broncos fan, and the Broncos have the first seed, so you get to just like watch all the carnage unfold this upcoming weekend. And then I was thinking about like my favorite team, and never in my lifetime have the Jets been a number one seed. Mark, in your lifetime, have the Browns ever been a number one seed?
The Browns were when I became a Browns fan in 1986 until they were felled by the Broncos in the drive. So it didn't go so well.
I didn't mean to like park us in that cul-de-sac Sessy, but the point kind of still stands. It's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
What's it like, Brandon? How does it feel to love and be loved?
It's so nice. It is tight. It is super relieving. And when you don't go into a season expecting to be the one seed, I think it makes it even better. Denver's overachieved in a lot of ways, and I just finished shooting a video about them being the one seed because they've been called a fraudulent one seed, which I don't.
We might get into that in just a couple of minutes, right?
But it's nice, and I've had to like adjust my brain for the playoffs because for the last 9 years, what I've been rooting for in the postseason really is like teams that could beat the Chiefs. Really, the last 5 years, I'm like, I need the best teams in the playoffs to beat the Chiefs. And I was watching Ravens Steelers, and I really don't know which team's better, honestly. But I'm like, I think I'd rather the Broncos play the Steelers than the Ravens. And at first I was rooting for the Ravens to win just because they're a more fun football team. And I'm like, they're a dangerous team. But then I'm like, I don't actually need them to beat Kansas City. I have to worry about who can beat my team now. So I was like, this is a different way to look at teams going into the playoffs.
I like that as a tee up because I feel like there's some things we're about to talk about that tie into those points you just made. In fact, let's get into it because we've been talking about it all season here on Heed the Call, that this has been an odd season in the NFL. It's been a unpredictable season in the NFL. Man, it's been a weird season in the NFL. So why don't we take turns? We'll go around the horn a few times here. The year in weird NFL style. Brandon, get us going. What's the subplots that defined the oddities that marked this season?
I mean, there's so many, and I'm going to ask you guys later about the Colts. They have been one. Philip, I don't think anybody predicted Rivers coming out of retirement, so that's the big one. But in the AFC West specifically, watching the Chiefs just lose so many games was weird. And it was, I mean, I took great joy in it. But they were doing the opposite of what they did last year, where they were losing all these one-score games. And then to see Patrick Mahomes get injured is weird. He's only been injured really one other time in his career where he missed time, and that happened when he dislocated his knee on a quarterback sneak against the Broncos, a game the Chiefs went on to win for whatever reason. But watching Mahomes not finish the season for the Kansas City Chiefs, watching them really be out of it even before that injury happened, that was definitely odd.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just Mahomes either, right? Like, you're hearing a lot of talk out there in the discourse about, well, Josh Allen has no excuse now, as if he's the only one that will dictate whether the Buffalo Bills go on the run to the Super Bowl finally. But we are in an AFC here, Brandon, where there is more than just no Mahomes, no Lamar, no Burrow. And like, what is that? How are we supposed to wrap our heads around that? Because that has been that's been the fan experience for the last half decade.
It's so jarring because, to your point, Brandon, like I feel like you were waiting for someone to go topple the Chiefs in a decisive matter at the height of the playoffs. That's where we expect that to happen. Instead, we're watching like a third stringer close out the season. It's just been like, in a season of weirdness, it's like a rapid sea change where everything that we thought we knew got kicked out the door. Like you woke up with a massive hangover, not remembering what you did the night before. Like everything just changed.
Brett, let me ask you this question, Brandon. Let me frame it this way, and then we'll move on because we got to get through these. But let's say the Broncos do what we expect them to do. Or people in Denver and Perna Nation expects, they get to the Super Bowl. Will it feel a touch hollow that you didn't take out the great Mahomes and Reed?
Nah.
Does that matter to you?
Nope. I want, the path of least resistance. And honestly, it would have been nice. We'll beat the Chiefs in the playoffs next year. That's my thought. No, I will take great joy in it. And I think I'm more worried about them dropping a game, specifically just coming out the bye. If they can just get the win in the divisional to get to the AFC Championship, so we can say, okay, didn't work out the way we wanted ultimately, but they took a step forward, they grew, they made some progress. I'll feel good about that. But everybody knows, like, Super Bowl windows are weird and small, and Denver's in one right now because of the way all that weird stuff worked out for them this year, including the Patriots losing to the Raiders week 1. And that's the reason the Broncos have the tiebreaker over the Patriots, because the juggernaut Raiders beat them in the first week of the football season.
All right. Let's stay in this area and give us another one, Perna, because you had talked about, as a Broncos fan, I feel like you're feeling a little disrespected. What is weird about the Broncos and the way their story has been told, I guess, in the greater national discourse?
Yeah, no, and I think Broncos fans feel a little disrespected, but I think Broncos fans also know, like, how close they are to winning and losing every game they play in. So that, I think, if they were winning kind of the same way the Patriots have been winning, both teams have played like easy schedules, I think I'd be a little more confident to be like, hey, put some respect on the Broncos name. But like 11 victories in one score games. They trailed in all those games. There's something to be said for a team that closes it out in the fourth quarter, but by no means am I like, this team is going to dominate every game they play in. So that makes every game, winnable or losable. So I'll just wait. I made the mistake of talking too much trash when the Broncos signed Russell Wilson and how they were just going to save everything. Like, I've learned that I do not want to be a meme again. So I'm just going to wait it out. One more weird thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't think the 49ers have gotten enough credit for navigating the injuries on their defense and looking like one of the best teams most weeks this season. I don't know if that's weird or if that's just, good coaching. And as soon as I went all in on the 49ers, then they got it handed to them by Seattle.
Oh, so tell me about it.
Curse.
Graver and I locked them up in our competition this week, and then they just pooped their pants. But like with the Broncos, 11 one-score wins, right?
Yeah,
you're annoyed too because you say I don't need to beat the Chiefs this year. Maybe I'll beat them next year or the year after. But you're a little bit annoyed about the Chiefs. How things were discussed about the Chiefs last year when they did the same exact thing as Denver.
Yeah, I'm very and it's just because I just talked about this, but it's just because the Chiefs, they have the hardware, right? They won the Super Bowls, so they get the credit for the past work. So last season, everybody was like, okay, the Chiefs are winning these close games. And for a while it was, are the Chiefs beatable? And then it turned into, is this actually the best version of the Kansas City Chiefs we've ever seen because of the way they're winning? And the Broncos, the narrative's been, they are so beatable. We're just waiting to prove them wrong. And, Bo Nix doesn't have the history that Mahomes has, obviously.
I think that's what it is, right? It's the amount of institutional respect that the Chiefs got. So as mad as the Chiefs haters and that army grew with each passing year of their dynasty, there was also the people that were like, no, you guys don't put enough respect on their name, that they're finding a way to do that. But here are the Broncos, who are more an upstart team, and they don't get that same benefit of the doubt. It actually kind of makes sense to me, to be honest with you.
Well, I would say one thing, who cares how they're winning if you're a Broncos fan? But It's been said before, they're not the easiest watch, and they aren't in year 9 of this like the Chiefs were a year ago, where it's like we just trust them to find a way to do it. With Denver, I'm trusting at some point that they won't find a way to do it. And that's not fair, but that's just how I innately feel about them. And I think a lot of other people do too.
No, and I understand that. And I think the perception of the Broncos changed once they defeated the Packers. So it was once they beat Green Bay, everybody was like, okay, this is actually a pretty good football team, because Bo Nix and the offense had to score points to win that game. But even that game, upon reflection, Micah Parsons goes down. The Packers lost basically every game since then, or they've lost the last 4. So you can find a way to, tarnish every sort of win the Broncos have had. I think the one that bothers me is Jacksonville. Jacksonville beat Denver by 14 points, and the Jags feel like the best team in the AFC right now to me. If that was a 1-score loss, I'd be like, okay, this team, they really can compete with every single team in the league. Sure, they lost to Jacksonville, but it was close. But Jacksonville kind of kicked their butt. So
that one spooked me
too, Brandon.
That one spooked me.
Yeah. I want to go here because a team we haven't really touched on. And here, I'm just going to frame it this way. And this got weird. This is weird for me. Hang on. The Patriots are fucking awesome again? I'm sorry, but I thought we beat this bad guy in the last episode. And here he's suddenly back, nastier than ever, out of nowhere. It feels akin to certain things in our society. We're like, this thing is back. Shouldn't have this taken 17 years? Now they suddenly have an MVP candidate, a coach of the year candidate, an executive of the year candidate, and Elliott Wolf. It's like, what the hell is going on around here? They're probably going to the Super Bowl, and this happened so quickly.
Whoa. Pump the brakes, Sessy. They're
I'm
probably
just saying,
going to the Super Bowl?
Because of the way this season is, we probably wind up getting like the Patriots as Super Bowl champs all over again. And it's just like, this thing is out of control.
They are the number 2 seed. So that's not, I feel like the year in weird would dictate that one of the lower seeds end up doing this.
The Chargers would be the weird team, right?
Yeah.
Well, they all sort of feel the same to me because all the Giants have been taken out, all the names and quarterbacks that we expected.
Can I pair yours, Sessy, with one of mine? Because I think it's the year in weird. And I know Patriots fans don't want to hear it, but it's all connected to me. So the year in weird, the shit pit, which Brandon, I don't know if you know, but in our power rankings, the bottom 8 teams when we do our tiers, that is referred to the shit pit, and that's trademarked. Well, the trademark's pending. But once we get that trademark, it's going on T-shirts, it's going on truck flaps, it's going global, baby. Coffee mugs. People are going to get tattoos, but they have to pay us because it's going to be trademarked. Anyway,
we'll pair your shirts with my coffee. And it'll be
there you go, Benchwarmer Brew. Get that. Check out Brandon's socials to get that. But the shit pit reached new depths, or at least it felt that way. And we'll kind of lead with the Patriots from that, because the Patriots' 2025 schedule had opponents with a combined winning percentage of .429 when the season started. So profiled going into the year as playing a last place schedule as the second or third easiest schedule. And then the year progressed, and we know how the year played out. It ended up that they had a final winning percentage for their opponents of .386, which represented the weakest schedule in the NFL in the last 20 years. And you know all the stats by now as we enter the playoffs. For instance, the 4-13 Giants beat more winning teams than the 14-3 Giants. And I'm not saying that the Giants are better than the Patriots. I'm just saying it's fucking weird, okay? And when you look at the bottom of the standings, the bad teams just seem more lost than ever. Because I did go through the years and I was like, is there more like 13 plus lost teams this year than the past? No, it's kind of more, years go up and down, but this year is similar to other seasons. But I just feel like when you go through the teams themselves, and many of these teams I'm about to mention played the Patriots this year, by the way, but a Cardinals team with some talent loses out the final 9 weeks of the season. The Titans draft a quarterback number 1 and nearly land the top pick again. The Jets set a record for December of futility. They don't have a 400-yard receiver. They don't have a goddamn interception. Need I say more? The Raiders show zero growth, thanks, Tom, and then send Pete Carroll to the nursing home. The Giants have gone from a Tiffany franchise to a Karen franchise. The Browns, when the Browns are the last team I mention here, the shit pit has gotten crazy. So, it just jumped out to me this year. When we went through the weeks and we recapped every game, that's what we do. Heed the call. How many weeks there was just like a pitiful team playing, a moribund team playing, and there are reasons why that is. We all know that it shouldn't be this way, right? Because of the way the NFL is built to not keep bad teams down. But these bad teams seem to stay down now. And it's something of I wouldn't call it a crisis for the league. It's certainly a crisis if you're a Jets or a Browns or a Titans fan. But the teams that are bad are really bad. And if you're a good team like the Patriots that's run well, you really can stack wins, even if you're not necessarily a great team. And I just think it's been a weird dichotomy.
I think there's one little thing that's different than 10 years ago. That teams that fall off a cliff the way that those teams you mentioned do early on, they are quasi-tanking in a way that isn't overt. Like, there are players being taken away off the field. And it's like that tanking wasn't even a notion in the NFL 10 years ago. I think it quietly is for teams now in a very different way than it was before. But the bad teams were shit on a shingle. Like, it was rough this year. So I agree with you.
What does that mean, by the way, shit on a shingle? Anybody?
I don't know. It's like a bird shit on your roof or something.
Oh,
I mean, that's how
roof,
there are not a lot of humans up on top of shingle areas.
but like these teams, it feels like there's like a human up there dropping
Shitting
a
on
deuce.
them.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. The roofs of our teams, there's human feces everywhere, and Brandon, that's a problem. Human shit on your roof is an absolute problem.
Some say you cannot have enough human shit on your roof. I don't
It's
know
good
who those
fertilizer.
people are, but yeah, it falls into the grass and your lawn will be green. The one thing with the Patriots that's interesting is I think they've had the easiest schedule since the 99 Rams, and that team went on to win the Super Bowl. So I don't think having like that easy schedule is a bad thing, as long as you're actually a good football team. And I think everybody believes the Patriots are a good football team. We just don't know how good they are.
Yes.
And you don't have that metric of, sure, they played Buffalo twice, right? But other than that, it's not like they played really like one or two games where like, okay, they went against the Texans and destroyed them, or did they even play the Texans? I don't know. I feel like I said that, and then everybody's like, they did play the Texans, and they won that game.
They can't win.
Can we quickly just take a quick turn for a side mission, because you do great work, Perna, with the some of your media criticism of the league, and and including when around the NFL was taken behind a shed and shot in the back of the head.
I don't even know what show you're talking about.
Yes, it's been erased from the public discourse.
Call.
Exactly. So, like, here we are. To my point, just to tie it all together, play this from Stephen A. Smith, who is a prominent figure on the Worldwide Leader.
Known football guy.
I'd eat something to provoke myself to have food poisoning where I'm like garbage before I'd play for the Jets. I'm telling you right now, I whatever I could do to be alive and be okay in the end, but to ruin their thoughts of ever wanting me on their roster, I would do. And damn it, I'd go back to college before I play for the Jets. They are a football atrocity. They are awful. I mean, straight garbage.
All right. And we're also worried about AI and how it's coming for us all. And then here's Stephen A. Smith, ostensibly a human being who has already turned himself into an artificial version of his original self. This is a man who speaks in sound bites and a clipped cadence that is engineered to be clipped and shared on digital properties. This man ceased to be human around 2015 or so. And then I got, don't get me started on this Todd McShay. Play that, Justin. I don't know, Todd.
Because
it's not, but we're
not one single player in this entire draft, unless they grew up a Jets fan or have some kind of family tie, wants to be a New York Jet.
And don't get me going on Todd, because this league and how it's covered makes so much more sense when you understand that most critical commentary like that and analysis is directly connected to relationships and score settling. And who's Todd's best friend? Joe Douglas, who got fired by the Jets. Nobody wants anything good. So this isn't defending the Jets. The Jets are a shit pit. But like what makes me nervous, Ceci, as a Jets fan, I'm sure you could relate as a Browns fan, is that while smart people like us, like our audience, like Brandon Perna's audience, that understand that these guys are talking heads with nothing to offer other than veiled pot shots to settle scores or to get as much exposure in the algorithm as possible, there are other people like Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, young people that watch ESPN, and these people, even in this era in 2026, can still drive discourse and narratives and hurt my team and yours, and that just pisses me off.
It's, what the one thing about these consistently terrible teams is that I feel like there was a period where it was like, it's a great landing spot for a coach and a quarterback to come in and change the story and change the city and all this. But that feels like 5 iterations of the bad Browns ago, and then 5 iterations of the Jets. And I think that there are quarterbacks now making so much money in college, for instance, that you are concerned about where you're going to go. Should you take on the challenge of going to a Jets team and turn that New York team into something that it's never been before. I love that a quarterback would want to do that, but the college system's whacked, and I think they are watching this, and then we're replaying it, and it's like Stephen A. Smith got a double play there. So
no, I think you missed my point, Mark, because what I'm saying is that because like the Jets and Browns are like the lol Jets and the lol Browns of the conversation. But there's so many bad teams at the bottom of the NFL standings, like as if going to the Arizona Cardinals, Brandon, is a safe landing spot for these guys, or the Titans. Apologies, Justin, or the fucking Raiders, or even the Giants now. Like these teams are not safe places. That teams like the Jets and Browns are more national punching bags and laughing stocks, and that's the frustration that I'm speaking to. There's a lot of bad teams that it's whatever these young guys go to, it's going to be a tricky situation, but the simple-minded discourse just will drift to the easy targets, and that's annoying to me.
If I'm one of those, if I'm an agent and I got to sell a young quarterback on the Jets, I say, look, it might be tough there, it might not work out, but if it doesn't, like you can go in there, maybe you go there and you save the Jets, and if you're the guy who saves the Jets, you're going to be king of the NFL. That's already one selling point. Then you go, if it doesn't work out, you know there's going to be a lot of teams ready to save you after you leave the Jets. We saw it happen with Sam Darnold.
Right.
Even Aaron Rodgers got away from the Jets, and he looked okay too again.
Exactly. Baker in Cleveland. The
Jets and their special teams. Hey, their special teams going to keep you in some games next season, guarantee it. And I actually think with the Jets, I don't know if Aaron Glenn's the right guy as your head coach. But I do think the Jets, you were talking about tanking a little bit ago, Mark. I think one team actually committed to the tank this year, and that is the Jets. They traded away two of their best defensive players. They started Brady Cook for how many games? 4 or 5 games to close out the season, and he was arguably the worst quarterback in the NFL. And it gave us some very meme-worthy results from New York. But to me, it feels like, okay, they committed to the plan. The only problem is they won too many games.
Yep.
And that was was it the Falcons game? Their last victory?
Yeah, they won that one. Yep.
Or else they would have Mendoza or a shot at him.
Yeah, I know.
They got the Raiders now.
Let's stop down here for a quick break, and then we'll return with more Year in Weird. Ceci, so everyone's deploying AI agents now, right? They're automating tasks, handling workflows, making decisions.
Yes, but here's the thing. Sometimes they mess up, right? Delete the wrong files, make changes you didn't authorize, or just go off script. And when that happens, you're stuck figuring out what went wrong and how to fix it. Unless
you're using Rubrik Agent Cloud. AI is here, but can you control the risk? AI agents move fast, and they can now create 10 times the damage in 1/10 of the time. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that lets you monitor, govern, and rewind AI agent actions. You can get full visibility, enforce policies, quantify risk, and undo destructive actions. It runs in the background, sets guardrails, and if something breaks, you just roll it back, like undo, but for AI.
Absolutely. Honestly, using Rubrik Agent Cloud would make me way less nervous about letting AI agents actually do things. If your business relies on AI agents, you need the ability to monitor, govern, and rewind their actions.
Right now, Heed the Call listeners get exclusive early access to Rubrik Agent Cloud. Head to Rubrik.com. That's Rubrik.com. Rubrik.com.
What's good, y'all? It's Von Miller, Super Bowl MVP, Sackmaster, and now your host of Free Range. This is where NFL meets real talk. Every week, I'm bringing you inside the game, from locker room stories to league-wide headlines. You want football IQ, locker room insight, and real conversations with the people shaping the league? Welcome to Free Range with Von Miller, where nothing is off limits and every down counts. New episodes every Wednesday. Listen and follow Free Range with me, Von Miller, wherever you get your podcasts.
You're a pro at running your life, at committing to your workout, at showing up every day. At Bombas, we're pros too. Pros at making socks. Our sport assortment has specialized socks for whatever sport you're committed to. Running, hiking, golf, Pilates, and so much more. Made with sweat-wicking yarns, blister-fighting details, and targeted arch support. Bombas Sport is pro-level socks from the pros of socks. For another pro, you. Go to bombas.com/audio and use code audio for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com and use code audio.
All right, we're back. let's move. Give us something else weird from as we close the book on the 2025 regular season and spin forward. Let me just do a little Francesa. If you're just joining us here, we got Brandon Perna from That's Good Sports. We're talking about the year in weird. All right, what else you got, Brandon?
I feel like we should talk about Phillip Rivers. I mentioned it
we
briefly.
have to.
Yeah.
That's my favorite storyline from this year. And I think what the best part about Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement is he came in and he did not save the Colts. They lost 3 games, but they were the 3 best losses we watched for Indy. He took a team that was basically, once Daniel Jones got hurt, they were kind of dead in the water. And then he didn't save them, but he made them relevant again. And then set up Riley Leonard to come in and just play 1 game, look pretty good, and at least leave Colts fans, I think, with a little bit of optimism about their QB situation heading into next year. But we're never going to see a guy who's been away from the game that long come and play that late in the season. I mean, I say that, and probably Brady's going to do it for the Raiders.
There'll be like a rash of them next season now.
But yeah, not a single person had that on their radar. Phillip Rivers didn't have it on his radar. And it was a season that so many other weird things kind of went down. People were just like, yeah, Rivers coming out of retirement. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. I did a little catching up on some reading yesterday, right? So the first thing I checked out was Kalen Kaler and Ryan McFadden worked together on ESPN on an article called Inside Raiders 2025 Collapse, Tom Brady's Influence. That's quite a headline, by the way.
Ooh, I like it.
And I thought that it was a good read, an interesting read. And the thing that I took out of that the most was having Tom Brady driving everything here is, back to my last point, that's the reason why this team's dysfunctional and will continue to be dysfunctional, because he is not all in. Within that piece, it mentions that he is not only a minority owner of the Raiders, he is driving the entire personnel ship here. It's not Spytech. Spytech's just along for the ride. How many games do you think Tom Brady attended? How many Raiders games do you think he was at last year?
Was it 1?
He was at 3 Raiders games.
Well, unless he was in disguise.
In the regular season, he was at 1 preseason game, and he did many of his meetings about personnel with conversations internally via Zoom on a private jet, going to one of his, various mogul-related events. Okay, now tying it back to what you said, Brandon. Now look at the Colts, and I don't know if Carly Ursay-Gordon is going to be a successful owner. But then you read Jordan Rodriguez, our buddy's piece in The Athletic, the profile of the Colts, and you see what it looks like to be all in on an organization and want it so bad and talk to the players and be in the building, be the first in the building to get there, the last to leave, wanting to be involved with all operations, even if it might look a little silly to some people, like with her with the headset and the notepad and all that stuff. But she is all in, and then I think the one other part, Ceci, that jumped out to me is and I've been pounding the drum a little bit on this, the Phil Rivers decision, which seems, in retrospect, as we get further from it, is going to seem crazy and crazier, I think. But it's what her old man would have done. It's the Jeff Saturday hire. It's the be bold and go forth and conquer. So the Colts being a wild card is a fun thing, even if, when you look back at it, it's man, was it the right move? It was fun though, and they're trying. At least they're trying.
No, they are. They find a way to make collapsing seasons interesting. Every time I see Jeff Saturday back sitting at a round table discussing football like an analyst, I'm he just came in and coached the team for a couple weeks. How do you do that? I'd love to know how you do that. But the thing about Carly, I'll say this in her favor, she knows that Rivers and Shane Steichen are the tightest of bros, and she must have listened to his input and let him have power over that. And it gave us one of the weirdest football narratives around, to watch this guy be out of football, have 3 more kids in the interim, and then come back and be in a Colts uniform with a pot belly. I mean, I loved it.
All right. One more from you, Ceci.
Okay.
What was weird?
This is based again around a human being that impacted my love of this season, okay? And I'm calling this our hazy, and we got a little video presentation that Justin put together. Our hazy one-night stand with Scatterbro.
Wait, this might be too much liquid for my shoe.
What's going on, Big Blue? Hey, it's 4, 4, and 6 in a trap.
He's drinking out of his cleat audio audience.
Cam, how many years?
He's at a wrestling match.
He can't count.
About to wrestle.
Cam Scatterboo profiles as someone who thinks wrestling is real.
Yes. My thing is like I thought he was in the running for like for me the most enjoyable new actor and personality, and then suddenly he was completely gone and out of our lives outside of that one wrestling thing. It was just like, that's weird to me. It was like the biggest thing, and then he's just gone, and he's a weird dude, and he's a total bro, and like I'm magnetized to the whole experience, and it made me very happy.
Broken legs have a way of eliminating people from the discourse in the
That's
NFL.
correct.
Yeah, and he handled that broken leg like a champion. I think wasn't he trying to like walk off the field or have somebody help him off the field? Like, dude, your leg is sideways. Wait for the cart to get out here. The Giants are definitely weird. Firing Dable, obviously, it makes sense in the grand scheme of things, but they're doing it late when if they were going to make that change, they probably should have done it before drafting their next quarterback. But the Giants were not good, but there's a lot of hope. Like Jackson Dart played well. Jackson Dart and Cam Ward, I think, are weird rookie sensations where everybody's like, those quarterbacks are good. Everything around them was terrible, but we feel good about these two rookie quarterbacks with terrible records going into next season. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Justin, hope is on the menu over on the Titans podcast in 26.
What more can you ask for?
All right, last one. And I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't have this conversation. The 2025 regular season was the year the NFL kickers took over the world.
Oh God, yeah.
It's not my earliest memory, but it's close to it. Watching football, Super Bowl 25, and as Bills kicker Scott Norwood jogged out on the field to attempt, I think it was a 47-yard field goal that could have, beaten the Giants. He entered that game having made 6 of 10 field goals from 40 to 49 that season. He never even, this is crazy, I looked this up on Pro Football Reference. He never even attempted a 50-yard field goal that season, okay? 35 years later, it feels like we're in a different galaxy. Hell, it feels like a whole planet away from the NFL of even 10 years ago. Here's Vic Fangio. We didn't see this. This kind of slipped through the cracks back in September. But here's the Eagles defensive coordinator 2 days after a narrow win over the Bucs in Week 4.
You know what you guys have missed? Not just you, but everybody. Is we gave up a 65-yard field goal and a 58-yard field goal. These kicking balls that they changed this year have drastically changed the kicking game. Field goals in particular. So it's almost like they need an asterisk here, like it was the live ball era, or the asterisk for those home runs Bonds and Sosa and McGuire were hitting. The way they've changed the ball, the NFL, the kicking ball, has drastically changed the field goals.
God, I wish Vic Fangio was in my family and I got to see like Uncle Vic on Easter. We could just talk ball. Here's the weirdest thing, Brandon. You ready? Between 1960 and 2018, there were 20 makes from 60 yards or longer. This season, there were 12 this season on 22 attempts. So more than half of these attempts were made. And, I guess the question I would have is the NFL, do the owners, does the league like it? Or are we going to see some changes to try to rein this in?
Yeah, I don't know, because there's that the sheer length of field goals is one part of it, right? And then the drastic changes to the kickoff rules have changed the game quite a bit as well. We did a video about the kickoff specifically, like in November of this year, because the return rate had increased so significantly. But one of the things that kind of flew under the radar there is the injury numbers actually went up quite a bit because of all those extra kickoff returns. And the whole reason they dialed the kickoff returns back was to negate some of the injuries. And Grossi and I were just talking about this a couple days ago. It's also changed the way I think teams approach the fourth quarter with the kickoff rule. So one, if you've got kickers who can kick it further, you don't have to get as far downfield to even give them a chance. Then you've got kickoffs starting at the 35, or your returns are starting at the 35 with a touchback, right? So teams are being forced to have a chance to return balls late in games. That's caused problems for kickers just trying to keep it in the landing zone. So Fangio was pretty right on all the ramifications, and it's not just the field goals, it's the kickoff, kick returns, and we've seen teams have to go I feel like 12 yards to get into field goal range at the end of the game versus, a good chunk of 30 or 40 yards getting down the field. And if you don't have timeouts, all of those things become easier. And we have seen so many games this season, I feel like, specifically Thursday night games or primetime games, where it felt like a game was over, but then a couple plays, a kickoff, a weird thing there, and a team wins. Seattle did it early in the season a few times, so
it's also
kickoffs,
weird, man.
And Dan, I want to your the field, specifically the field goal and the length of field goals, and that's underreported what Fangio mentioned about the ball. But everyone has the same ball. That does equalize it a bit. But I feel like, and I wanted to do a study of certain kickers that were pretty inept 4 years ago are now supercharged and superpowered and doing stuff they couldn't have done 4 years ago. So it's what is this? Has this been replaced by an alien race? I'm not sure what's.
Well, it's also things like we're not that far away from Deflategate and all the concerns about the air pressure. And now teams with this K-ball rule, I did some research about what this actually means. It's like the teams and the kickers actually get to keep the balls with them in a private facility for the entire week. And then they bring and they use 3 that they've been massaging for days and days. And then they could use them for a maximum of 3 games. It feels like an easy way for some chicanery to get into the mix. And I think that's why we're keeping Bill Belichick out of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Remove my kicking balls from the humidor 1 minute before I kick them. That's when the ball is ripe.
Also,
I think we need different ball sizes for the kickers.
Let's do it. Let's get weird.
Footballs, I want tiny footballs, and I want each football to count for a different amount of points if it goes through the upright.
Are we ready to acknowledge that the landing zone is weird? It's like, it's in the landing zone, so that's cool. Whoops, missed the landing zone, so it goes here. Touchback, it's at the 20. No, it's a different type of touchback. Now it's at the 25. It's like, holy shit, have we overthought this?
Gun to head.
When I get confused on where the ball is supposed to be spotted during a game,
right?
I think they've changed it too many times.
When my 9-year-old son's like, Daddy, what does this mean? And I don't know, and I've been covering the league for 15 years, we have an issue. All right.
Yes.
Brandon, you said it all. What should people go and check out right now in the Perna universe?
Just my YouTube channel. That's Good Sports. It's it's okay. It's all right.
I get that coffee that he's putting out there, and it's made many a morning brighter.
We got good coffee.
Good coffee.
I'm proud of it.
You're kind of a mogul yourself. Do you do meetings on a private jet?
Yes. And I, just like Tom Brady, I'm not all in on anything that I'm doing anymore. He's really approached his postseason completely, his post NFL career completely differently than his NFL career. He was the hardest worker, laser focused. Now he's like, I'm an announcer. I'm a minority team owner. I'm going to go to St. Bart's with some podcasters. I also own a WNBA team.
Going to Saudi Arabia to do flag football at some point. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
These aren't even half measures. He's doing like 10th measures of 10 different things. All right. That's it. At Brandon Perna. Follow him. That's Good Sports on YouTube. Get the coffee too. Bench warmer brew coffee. I got to have some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you ship me some?
Yes, I can.
I refuse to pay for it.
Well, I pay.
A sample
I count
shipment.
Mark's
That's
money
all I
every
ask
month.
for. All right. Brandon, thank you so much, buddy. You're the man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Mark. That was fun. Always great to have Brandon on the show.
Why
And,
am I paying
yeah.
for the coffee, but you presuppose that you're not paying for the coffee? That kind of soiled the final few seconds of that wonderful experience for me.
Mind power, my friend. Because I will get the coffee for free and you will pay money for it. And I put that out there into the universe, knowing that Perna's a businessman. And if he sends me the sample and I drink it and it's good, I will talk about it on the show. And even if I don't buy more coffee after the free sample, probably won't, because I like free stuff, I will then endorse his product, which would lead maybe to hedonists buying Brandon's coffee.
Or
yeah,
I've had this idea before.
Yeah.
We create our own brand of coffee and go up against Perna's brand, and we sell it to our own.
I love you, Mark. You have brought this up before. I have no interest in it. I have no interest in this idea. But if you want to have a little like Sessler side quest here, where you make some type of coffee bean in Colombia, and then we export it and make riches, I will still take the 50%. I'll even sign up.
You're
Let's
not
talk
gonna
business again. You know?
This is. I don't think you're going to be getting a 50% cut. I already have a name for it. I've come up with a label, a brand, everything. So
I love
it. We'll see.
But according to the terms of our business relationship, this is a 50-50 endeavor. So you'll have to talk to my lawyers. This is turning into like a Hall & Oates situation.
Very concerning.
It's like
Just
they like
Perna's.
each other, right? No, it's a pure business setup. All right, good stuff. We'll be back on Thursday with a preview of Wild Card Weekend. How fun is that? Connor Orr will join us. And there are whispers out there that we could get to 30K by that show, the 30K challenge.
Oh, it's time.
With Connor Orr. So if you haven't subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, do it, and we'll get that story for the preview episode this week, perhaps.
Smash it.
Smash it. All right, till next time. Heed the call.
Are you really buying a car online on AutoTrader right now?
Really?
At a playground?
Yeah, really. Look at these listings from dealers.
Wow, your search can really get that specific.
Really?
And you just put in your info and boom, car's in your budget.
Mom needs a second, honey.
You can really have it delivered?
Really. Or I can pick it up at the dealership. One sec, sweetie. Mommy's buying a car.
Mommy, look! I think your kid is walking up the slide.
Kyle, again? Really?
AutoTrader. Buy your car online. Really?
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. From roof repair to emergency plumbing and more, done well. So the next time you have a home project, leave it to the pros. Get started at Angie.com.